2, 3, 4.
So, shall I start? Okay. So let's see. Okay. Well, as far as I know, I was born in Providence, Rhode Island, and my mother, at the time, I was the third child for her. And they didn't expect me. They planned both my brother and sister before me. And so my mother says that she was very happy that I was a girl, and she was like, "You were so beautiful." And I didn't cry a lot. I don't think I was very peaceful. And they did take a picture of me when I was a baby, and I have to say that When I look at it, it's like it's kind of eerie because I know it sounds crazy, but I see myself in the picture, even though I'm like 5 minutes year old. Probably more than 5 minutes, but and I'm all like swaddling clothes, and I have black hair, and I'm looking at the camera, through these squinty eyes, and I even look, then I look. Oh my God, I'm like a very serious baby. As far as I know, my mother says that I was, a great baby. Very easy to take care of. Didn't cry a lot. I'm not fussy. She breastfed me. I never had any like sicknesses or anything. I was very healthy. And the first, I do have a very faint memory of my father changing me on the washing machine. It's like I just see his like elbow, like flashing and like reaching for the diaper on the other side of me. And it's like a 2-second memory. And I remember like the white of the washing machine. And then my next memory I have is my mother washing me in the sink. And I remember seeing like bubbles. And I just remember like the silver of the sink and the bubbles, like, and the clashing of the two transparencies. And then I'd have to say my next memory would be I think it was my first birthday party, which I have lots of pictures of, and I have to say I was so cute. Ha! I was so cute. My whole family, there's like a series of like 4 pictures from that party. It's at my grandmother's house in Connecticut, and my grandfather was alive. I don't remember him. He died maybe a few months later. But I had this like lopsided angel food cake, and there was like one little candle on it, and I'm like staring at the candle and really happy, but still kind of serious looking, and so yeah, my family now, we all like look at them weird, and we're like, oh my God, you're so cute. And anyway, I do remember very, very faintly my grandfather like giving me this tiny little like stuffed animal. I think it was like a stuffed cat or something. I just remember him like holding it out to me. And it's too bad that's, the only memory I have of him. But I do wonder, like, since we all stare at those pictures, I wonder if it's like I really do remember that, but there's no document of him giving me that thing, but I do wonder if I made up that memory, 'cause I like look at those pictures all the time, and anyway, and I was wearing this, like, really, it looks like a big white cotton diaper.
Top and hair.
But in a very like elegant way, and I think that I formed a lot of my aesthetic from that picture, and that the whole just the placement of things in all those pictures, like I've like linked it to my current aesthetic. So let's see. And then, I remember as I was, like, very little, I remember, like, my mother washing dishes a lot, and seeing, like, the back of her legs, and I'd, like, hold onto her legs and, like, squeeze them all the time. And, I remember my father would always be reading the newspaper, ha ha ha, next to the lamp in the family room. And he'd always be, like, crossing his legs, and I'd, like, sit on his leg, and he'd, like, give me a little ride. He'd, like, bounce me up and down on his leg. And, I remember my brother and sister. This is, like, when I was starting to become a toddler, that I'm remembering this game that we used to play. And I was, like, crawling, and they'd go, "Come on, Julie, come on. Come on, Julie, come on." And then they come on, Julie, come on. Come on, Julie, come on. I'd be like crawling around, and they'd like, make me go faster. And I think I was like also starting to walk through. Come on, Julie, come on. Come on, Julie, come on. And then come on, Julie, come on. I do remember one time we had these family friends, Sharon and Rich, who my parents are still very good friends with. And they had a son named Kevin, and he came over, and we were playing the game. And then they said they started like incorporating my name with Kevin's name, and I was like, yeah! Like I was like really excited about the introduction of Kevin into the song, and I just remember seeing the sit and spin and seeing the braided brown rug in the family room, but I don't really remember much more. And I remember his hair was like brown, kind of Play-Doh like hair. And yeah. I just remember, like, lots of, like, hanging around the house. Like, there's always, like, my mom was doing dishes, and my father was, like, sitting, reading the newspaper, but there was, like, the TV, the little black and white TV on in the kitchen, and, like, my brother and sister, like running around and
Playing Fisher-Price, there was commotion, but it wasn't like very like, gentle like nice, inviting, domesticity going on. And so then
I do remember going to nursery school. This is like when I was probably about, oh wait a minute. I have to tell you about when I was in my room. My room where I slept was like a converted, it wasn't a den so much, but my father used to. Before I was born, he had his desk in there, and it was yellow.
And it was like
a faint yellow wallpaper with a little gold. Like insignias all over it. And there was brown carpeting, and in the corner by my closet there was this hanging gold-like mask that I think they got in Bali or something. And at night I would go to sleep in my crib and I would see the mask, and it would scare me. I was so frightened of the thing, and I couldn't go to sleep. So I finally told my mother about it, and she's like, Julie, why didn't you tell me earlier that it scared you? Because I guess I like endured it for several weeks before I had the mind to tell her that it scared me. And so they took it out, and I do remember being very happy about that.
But I really liked my room. It was like, not at all like, pink, or like happy, cheery. It's like kinda groovy. It's just like, yeah, like, And I still think that my favorite color's yellow because of that room. But anyway, well, I guess too I can talk about my I guess before I launch into school stuff, like all the social thing. But my house was big and green, with like a bluish tinge to it, and we had a hill in the front, and in the back there was like a patio, and there was a 2-car garage, and the garage was like on the side of the house. There's like a driveway that went up, and at the bottom of this driveway there's a huge mailbox that says Gridley on it. Gridley the my last name. And it was like my dad did like calligraphy in like, old like German style or something, even though he's not German. But anyway, and he very carefully manicured the whole lawn, but really like once again, like in a different, not like the expected sort of suburbia way, like we were always like, proud of the fact that we were kind of different from the other neighbors, like the other neighbors had, like everybody looked but he did it in a more artful way, like there were just like little crags and just like little nooks of like unexpected like fauna. Or is that right? Fauna? That's not right. Flora! I don't know what you call it, but and there was this thing in the front of the lawn that he built. It was sort of like a little wooden, like diorama sort of thing. And there were like trees and stones on it, and we would always play pirate ship on that. And we would usually play amongst ourselves, like my brother and I. My sister, she's a little bit older, so she was always like kind of running around, like causing mischief with other neighbors. She was causing like mischief with like the other like older neighbors, but she played with us once in a while. But actually most of the time she would chase me around the house, and she would try to kiss me. She was like obsessed with kissing me, and also she would make my brother smell her feet, ha ha ha, all the time. She was always running around with no shoes on. My mother was always be like, Stacy, get your shoes on. But she was like a little hippie, and so yeah. My brother and I mostly like played together, and we would play on this little like wooden diorama thing, and we would jump off it. And when my father also made us like these little like parachutes, and we would parachute off of it, and that was really fun. But I was always like, oh man, like I really want a parachute. It was like, jumping, and it was like a foot off the little thing. Ha ha ha, dumb, and shoot. Let's see, oh yes. Oh, and I do remember, and I do remember, very distinctly one time I was playing by myself on that wooden diorama, and there was a big stone there, and I lifted it up, and there were all these like little insects on it. And it wasn't like gross at all to me. Like, I was like, it was so beautiful. It was all these like weird, like I don't think they were ants, because I used to play like looking at ants all the time. And I was fascinated with anthills, but I remember seeing all these like weird insects, and I was like, oh my God, it's so beautiful. And then, like the next day, and the next day, and the next day, I would always like look under all the rocks, like hoping to find those insects again. And I never found them again. And it really made me sad. But I do remember that very well. And also on our house, like going up to it, there was like a brick walk, and my father built like everything in our house. And there was climbing the little brick walk. And there was little tiny berries on the bush. And I would always pick them, and my mother'd be like, Anne, don't eat them, 'cause they might be poisonous and dumb. But I would always mash them up, and I'd pretend like it was like my kitchen. And we had a neighbor. Across the street from us, and his name was Traxon Halligan, and he had blonde hair, and he was kind of chubby, but not. No, he wouldn't. He was more like, he was like stocky. He was a stocky little kid, and he was always like grimacing, and we were sort of like enemies with the Halligans. There were 3 other boys besides Traxon. At that point they were all, let's see, there was Stuart and then Palmer Halligan. And the mother was Gaylord. And ha 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 remember the other guy's name, and we'd always be like, where? That's a stupid name. I remember one time I picked all the berries, and Traxon Halligan came over, and I was like, here, Traxon, and I tried to feed him the berries. And I still feel really badly for that, because I knew that they might be poisonous. But ha ha ha, I gave it to him anyway. And also, actually, Traxon, I'm jumping all around the place, but this is just like, as I said, my home, like very early. I don't know how old. I was probably a little older here. Remember one time Traxon came over, and there was like a period where we were playing together for like a few weeks. But otherwise I really, as I said, did not like Traxon. But we started playing like house, and he was my husband, and so he, like we were playing, and he pretended he was like coming home. And I kissed him. Hello, and as I was kissing him, my brother saw me, and he was like, oh my God, Anne kissed a Traxon, ha! And so that was like the big news for the next, like, month, that I kissed Traxon Halligan, and